Hello, my name is Sydney Pulley, and this is a presentation on the French photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson. This quote really shows the thought process that Henri Cartier-Bresson had developed and experienced over his many years as a photographer. He was a spontaneous photojournalist who captured unique pictorialist images. He was born in 1908 in Chanteloup, France. He was born into a wealthy family, and he was the eldest of 5 children. Starting at an early age, he had a passion for literature and the arts. He attended the University of Cambridge studying English, art, and literature. After his education at the university, he was sent away to fulfill his duty in the military. In the late 1931, he arrived back in Paris and made a deep connection to surrealism, and that is when he started taking pictures again. Henri Cartier-Bresson expanded the photographic genes and is known as a pioneer of candid and street photography. He took many famous portraits for people such as Malcolm X and Marilyn Monroe. He chose never to develop his photos in a dark room and preferred the spontaneity of his images. After being relieved from the military, his next adventure was on to Africa, where he imagined leaving his city life behind and wanting to capture the rural life. This led to him living in a bush and capturing his experiences through a small portable camera. Although he returned to France in 1931, his inspiration from a photograph he had seen, 3 boys at Lake Tanganyika. He decided to pursue photography with a seriousness that had been absent in his previous photographs. For a brief time before World War II, he took an interest in film directing. He even had his first exhibition in 1935. With a desire to capture Europe's declining political climate, he returned to Paris. Henri Bresson became a French military photographer during the late World War II, but was captured and put into a German labor camp. He successfully escaped on his 3rd attempt and returned to a farm named Vosges, where he had hid his camera before his capture. When he was there, he met his wife, Ratna Mohini. Shortly after that, he started working with the MNPGD. This is a secret organization that helps with underground resistance activities for prisoners of war and escapees, returning them to their homeland safely. Working with this group, he gained a unique photographic series. After the war was over, he returned to Paris to capture the city's freedom from German occupation. In 1947, he became a co-founder of Magnum Photos along with Kappa, Seymour, and Rogers. This group protected other young photographers and their independence, as well as the right to own their own photographs and freedom from magazines. He traveled the world yet again, but this time he was on his own. He wasn't working for any more magazines and was just taking pictures for himself. He managed to win the U.S. Camera Prize in 1950. In 1966, Henri Cartier-Bresson retired from photography and devoted the rest of his life to being a father. He had a daughter named Melanie in 1970 with fellow photographer Martine Frank after divorcing his late first wife. By mid-1930s, Bresson's work was becoming rapidly more popular. He captured images and held exhibits in cities such as Mexico, New York, and Madrid. After World War II was over, Bresson traveled east and stopped in India. He photographed and documented citizens of India and Gandhi, his followers, as well as his death. This series became Life magazine's most prized photo essay. In 1954, Henri Cartier-Bresson took a trip to the Soviet Union, where this stunning photograph of two young women being eyed by Russian soldiers became the cover photograph of Life magazine. He took a 4-month-long journey, 7,000 miles through communist China, trying to capture the country's great leap forward. These series of photographs are considered to be his most successful project. When he finally returned to France, he took over 2 decades worth of photos that he had captured and turned them into his first published book. This book became a bestseller all across the world and is known as The Decisive Moment. Henri Cartier-Bresson attended a school in Paris where he studied under André Le Houx. There he found his passion for painting and literature. He was fascinated with the snapshot camera and was inspired by Man Ray and Eugene Adet to move to Africa and record his adventures. He returned home to France after being struck by Blackwater fever. He then returned to street photography where he could remain unseen and silent with the 35mm Leica camera. For over 40 years, he wandered around the world capturing his experiences and adventures in his travels. His photographs from this time explicitly show his desire to move slowly and live on proper terms. This included getting comfortable and totally surrounded by the environment. He spent time and engaged his life into understanding and indulging himself in the culture of the people he was trying to capture. This made the subjects of his images and everyone else respond really well to his photographs instead of them being a cold, hard picture. In 1937, Henri Cartier-Bresson produced his documentary of the healthcare during the Spanish Civil War. This led to his assisting of Jean Renoir, where they produced the production of One Partie de Champagne and La Règle des Jeux. His fascination and importance of still photography is attributed with his preoccupation of film. He spent some time in the filmmaking business, but when he retired in 1966, he decided to focus more on drawing. After that, he decided to focus on his family.